A week ago, the President of the United States gave an Oval Office address to the nation regarding the recent terrorist attack in San Bernardino. It seemed to many the President gave a lackluster speech with not many specifics. One of the specifics that he did give was for tighter gun control. Would tighter gun control have thwarted these attacks in San Bernardino, or is the real problem the visa program that led in a radical Islamic terrorist, Tashfeen Malik?
You know, it was hard to believe the President would start bringing up an issue like gun control when we really didn't even know the details about this mass killing. And this is an administration that uses any tragedy for its own political purposes. And everything that the administration has ever proposed in regard to gun control, none of those measures would have prevented this or any of the other mass murders. They're using the tragedies for political purposes, and that just is really inexcusable, to tell you the truth. The President's proposals, like whatever they might be, it almost doesn't matter, would not have prevented any of these killings from occurring. And in the case of San Bernardino, California, 14 people have died, and there may be others simply because people are still grievously wounded. But gun control and punishing law-abiding citizens is not the answer to stopping these kind of mass killings. Better intelligence is, and in fact, I think people across the country actually believe in the right to possess weapons to try to protect themselves and their families. And so I think the President is totally misguided. Again, even if all the gun control measures the President has proposed were implemented, it would not have prevented these killings. So why is the President proposing it other than just trying to politicize a tragedy, which is, again, he should not be doing?
Right, well, this is a president that thinks global warming is our top priority.
Yes.
Do you support a temporary halt in accepting refugees until stronger security measures can be put in place, or is the vetting system adequate?
I do support a temporary pause in the admission of Syrian refugees, and I sponsored legislation to do just that. We need to find out who is coming into the United States, why they want to come, and if they're going to do us harm. Now, the real problem with the Syrian refugees is not that we don't have a good process in place, it's that we can't get, in most cases, the necessary background about these individuals to know whether they are a danger or not. We had the director of the FBI appear before the Homeland Security Committee, and I asked him the question, are you able to get the necessary background information or not? And he said, I have real concerns about Syrian refugees. In fact, he said, we can actually get more information about Iraqi refugees than we can Syrian refugees. And the administration keeps talking about, we have these, we have these certain procedures in place, and that's great, but if you can't get the information, it doesn't matter what procedures you have in place, you're still going to be possibly admitting individuals who are either would-be terrorists or terrorists in training, and we can't afford to do that. When it comes to Syrian refugees, to tell you the truth, they deserve a even greater scrutiny than most refugees because so many of them are coming from a country that is a terrorist-sponsoring country. About 25% of all Syrian refugees are young males of military age. This is far disproportionately larger than the typical refugee situation. Most refugees are refugee families. They are parents with young children. They've given up their home, they've given up their job, they've given up everything. They're fleeing for their lives. That is not necessarily the case with the Syrian refugees. Another point about Syrian refugees is it's fine to talk about the refugees themselves, but we ought to also discuss why we have a Syrian refugee problem at all. And the reason is this administration's policies or lack of policies in Syria. It's this administration's policies that have led to so many people running for their lives. We were supposed to have deposed Assad, the dictator, government leader of Syria, and the president drew a bright red line that he never enforced, and it's the lack of supporting the people who were going to help us out and stabilize Syria that has led to this chaos in the country. So it's the president's own policies that resulted in the exodus of these Syrian refugees. And then as far as the refugees themselves go, we do need to make sure they're not coming into the country for any of the wrong reasons. And to do that, we need better background checks, and the FBI needs better background checks and more data. And if they can't get them, we should err on the side of keeping Americans safe, not err on the side of admitting refugees from Syria. So that's why I think we need to pause until we can figure out a better way. If we can't figure out a better way, then they need to go somewhere else.